It's Inside the Gamecocks, the show, Tuesday, November 22nd. Hope all of you are doing quite well out there. Happy Thanksgiving week to all of you. I'm JC Sherbert. He's Phil Mullinax. I think we're both battling a little throat scratching kind of situation today. So bear with us if we kind of sound like, I don't know, name your person. Beverly D'Angelo's character in Entourage. How about that? Hi, Ani. Ari. Hard to believe that's that same sweet woman that went, Clark. Oh, gee, yeah. Clark. Beverly Sparky. D'Angelo. Sparky, yeah, didn't age too well. But anyway, that's the deal there. I want to give you a programming note. We've made an executive decision here at Inside the Gamecocks, the show. No show Thursday or Friday. But what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to have something really special, second hour, with Jamie Bradford and Michael Flint. Also want to announce Inside the Gamecocks, the show is now sponsored, the title sponsor of the show, by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. My friend John Barber owns that. When you're talking about wintertime in the South, it's good to do some summer planning. He's got sunrooms. He's got other things for your backyard, make your house very beautiful. I would imagine a sunroom is more of a winter thing, but everybody seems to do construction in the summer or spring. So when you think about your spring plans, consider Express Sunrooms of Columbia, the title sponsor now of Inside the Gamecocks, the show. And, of course, we love all our other sponsors as well. Today's poll question, and that is not sponsored yet, but it will be, I think. Today's poll question is simple. It's the spread, 14.5. Tigers minus 14.5. Opened at 16. Now it's down to 14.5. This means the money's coming in on the Gamecocks a little bit. Will the Gamecocks cover? Will Clemson cover? On Twitter so far, it's about 80-20 Gamecocks.
I noticed we got some hope out there on both sites.
Yeah. You got it's 82 that they cover, 17% that they don't. So we'll see sort of what happens there. But certainly, the spread may be a little too big. I don't know. It's the Clemson game, and they've dominated the series. I mean, there hadn't been a closer game than 21 since 2015. Which is a long time ago. I kind of remember where I was actually at that game in 2015, and I know my life's changed quite a bit since then. I'm sure the rest of you have as well. But it's been a while since the Gamecocks have even given them a game. Really, for one half in 2018 was the only time it was competitive, and so it's been. As Dabo said that one time when he was in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, it's been a domination. Well, it has been a domination lately. And I wrote Phil on thebigspur.com today. Folks checked out the column. It's a tough turnaround going from a game like Tennessee where everything went your way, just a magical night, beating a top 5 team, beating a SEC East rival that you want to beat every year, beating them convincingly, having, do all this stuff, Rattler, whatever. And then you got to turn around and go play another top 10 team that, just so happens to be your in-state rival. And that game's more important than any other game on the schedule just about every year for the university, alumni, fans, players, you name it. Clemson's always a very important game. But I wrote, Phil, that, you know what, that's just the life of a Gamecock. I mean, you think about it, South Carolina's in the SEC. They're about to have to play 9 SEC games a year. Plus, their arch rival is in the midst of their best period ever, winning national championships and the like. That's just reality. And I think that the Gamecocks can, face reality and go play well. I think it's going to – the seniors on this team that have been through so much, they've been highs and lows. I started thinking about it, Phil. This group has been part of 2 of the biggest wins ranking-wise in program history. Because most of this group beat Georgia in 2019, right? And then Tennessee this year. So they've had like the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows. One of those lows was last year's Clemson game. And the fact that they have not scratched in this rivalry. They have not, the few people that were around in 2018, one half of glory, right, and a lot of pretty stats. But that game still was a 28-point game in the third quarter. So South Carolina, has to go up. I think they have to play a really good football game. I don't think Clemson's quite as that 2018 team and 2019, they were dominant. I wouldn't exactly call Clemson dominant. I think they're one of the better teams in the country. They've won the games they're supposed to win, maybe not Notre Dame, but they've really, as a team this year, Clemson is one of those teams that finds a way to win. They're not difficult to play with, right? But they're difficult to beat. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially at home and the way they do it, because they're going to want to ground and pound you, control the clock, and it could be a long day, but hopefully we that spark that we saw Saturday just kind of flows over and everybody keeps the intensity up. And because this is a huge game, especially for, like you mentioned, some of those kids that have been on this manic ride these past few years, the highs, lows, up, down. It'd be nice to finish up.
And it's big for the school. I mean, in the program, I mean, at some point, you need to go beat these guys, right? And Carolina's done that this year, winning at Kentucky for the first time since 2012, beating A&M for the first time ever, snapping a 3-game losing streak to Tennessee. They've done some things, and this is going to be another challenge. I don't think for a minute that player for player, the gap between Clemson and South Carolina is as large as it once was. I think there's still a gap, but I don't think it's as large as it once was. It's nothing like the gap with Georgia and Carolina. I think at this point. So, go up there, shoot your shot. And Phil, I almost think, because I've been trying to think, how do you play this? And we'll find out probably a little bit about Marshawn Lloyd when Shane Beamer speaks with the media after we get off today. If he's ready to go, then the question becomes, what kind of shape is he in? Can he go out there and carry a load? I know Clemson has been susceptible against the run at times, other times not so much. So can Carolina go in there? I almost, if I'm the Gamecocks, take the same approach I took against Tennessee and just say, hey, look, this is who we kind of are, or who we found out we were against the Vols. So let's just keep doing it. I mean, if you're Oklahoma, and you go put a bunch of points up on the board, or name your other big offense, Tennessee even. You're not going to sit there and go, oh, my God, it's Clemson. We better run it up the middle. We better do something completely different. You add some wrinkles, you mix some things up, but you still have the same kind of plan of attack. I think the Gamecocks need to go right after and just say, all right, we've got good players. We've got, Rattler needs to get time, obviously, but and that's going to be a challenge. But, quick game. Hit it, get the ball out on the perimeter, let you guys make plays, pound it some with your running backs, keep them off balance. They're a fast defense. So, but so is Tennessee. I think Clemson's better than Tennessee on defense, and they're more talented. Got more future NFL players, all that, better scheme, everything. But I think some of those little wide plays to Brown and Wells and Xavier Legette, the reverses and stuff, serve to keep defenses honest. And think about this, Phil. On this with this offense, the plan for Tennessee was very similar to the plan for Vandy. Okay, Gamecocks had kind of a sputtering penalty-plagued second half at Vandy. They put 31 on the board in the first half there. So think about this: using this style of offense and getting out there and attacking and going down the field and being creative and making them defend the whole field. It's yielded 31 points, 35 points. And 28 points in 3 halves of football, 3 out of the last 4 halves of football. They've tried to do this. So maybe that should tell everybody something.
I know. I mean, it looks like we've found our identity in the fact that, we're just distributing the balls appropriate to our playmakers, playing some quick game and, playing to all of our strengths. I mean, it really is just amazing that it's taken us this long to figure it out.
Yeah. Give Rattler time, let him get it down the field, and then he can make the throws, obviously. Like I said, Clemson's secondary is much better than Tennessee's secondary, but it's kind of a similar gambling style defense. I mean, we've seen that through the years. Wes Godwin obviously is different than Brent Venables a little bit, but not everybody's like Brent Venables, just like not everybody's like Steve Spurrier, when it comes to calling plays on the one side of the ball. And that is a very big credit to Brent Venables, by the way. The Nana's Porch chat box is blowing up. Blowing. By the way, guest today, right? Sawyer Nix, and that's it, right?
Sawyer Nix with the mental edge, and then tomorrow we got Chris Phillips in a day early since we've got an abbreviated week, and then of course the big second hour breakdown with Jamie Bradford and Michael Flint tomorrow.
And there could be another special guest jump in too as well. Or maybe three. Who knows?
You never know.
You never know here on the show. We may just surprise everybody. We just wave our magic wand and say, we're having a new guest today. Oh, great. Seth, first one at the chat box today. We're on the Clemson. We're on the Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
James makes a good point. Gamecocks would be the only school to defeat two teams that have been ranked in the playoff top 4 at some point this year. LSU will have a chance next week to be added to that list. Yeah, if LSU beats Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's been in the top 4. Tennessee's been in the top 4, deservingly so. But, I think that would be quite the feather in the cap of the Gamecocks if they go up there and win. But, I don't care if Clemson's 2-8.
No.
Throw
the records out this weekend. This is the rivalry game.
but to us, that's what it is. To us, that's what it is. But James makes a good point when you're talking about, narratives and recruiting and national exposure and things like that. Having that feather in your cap certainly is good. And then, who knows who the Gamecocks will play in the bowl game. If they win, for what Brad Crawford reported today, the Citrus Bowl kind of becomes an outside possibility in Orlando. Looks like the Gator Bowl is like an 80% deal. Pull for Florida to lose to Florida State, by the way, when you're talking about the Gator Bowl. And then because they'll take Florida. Of course, if Florida State's the opponent, they can't take Florida. So figure that out. Now, a lot of the projections I've seen and have said Notre Dame. So Florida Notre Dame would be a big ticket for them, more than South Carolina Notre Dame, I think. And the Gamecocks could end up in the Music City Bowl in Nashville, if at the very least. I think Nashville's probably, I don't want to say worst case scenario because Carolina's never played in that bowl. They tend to always want to take Kentucky over the Gamecocks, but I think Music City would be that next spot. And I think, too, I'll warn you guys, the Vegas Bowl's still out there, and it still could happen because the SEC ultimately decides. A lot of these projections and stuff are kind of the opinions of the bowl and the university, not necessarily the SEC. And Sankey and his band of brothers, and sisters. They pick it up, and they're the ones that make the decision. And there's been some surprises over the years. I thought Muschamp's first year, everybody's kind of wanting Virginia Tech and Carolina in Charlotte. They end up sending Arkansas to Charlotte. Gamecocks went to Birmingham. So one good thing, though, I think the win over Tennessee eliminates any possibility of the Birmingham Bowl.
Played your way out of Birmingham, huh?
I think that's once you get bowl eligible, that's the next step, brother.
Yeah.
Avoid Birmingham. It used to be
out of Birmingham.
Here's the thing. It used to be avoid Shreveport, but man, I've been to Shreveport twice for bowl games. I've had a blast both times. It's kind of that's kind of the only game in town is that bowl. Now the second time I went when Carolina played Miami, it was raining, and so there were probably like 50 people there. And it was the Duck Hunter, Duck Commander. That was
that's right.
The year the Duck Commanders sponsored the bowl, so that was kind of cool. And but we went. Keith actually went with me. We had a blast at that one. And Carolina won. Ate a pretty good steak afterward. And 2005 when Carolina went out there, I went out there with my friend Manning, my late friend Manning. God bless him. We went it was a devastating loss to Missouri because Carolina was up by like 3 touchdowns, beating the crap out of them. It was Spurrier's first year. It looked like the fun and gun. And then all of a sudden, Missouri came back and beat them. But we went to the Horseshoe Casino afterward And I won about $400 playing blackjack. So I had a good time then too, right? And on our way back, we drove from Nashville to Shreveport. We stopped in Hope, Arkansas, home of Bill Clinton, the president who's kind enough to do a commercial here for our show. And ate at a not a Golden Corral. It was like a Sizzler, Western
Sizzling.
Yeah. Western Sizzling. Yeah. Ate some buffet right there in Hope, Arkansas, between the cardboard cutout of Bill. I love this Western Sizzling. I want sirloin tips, mushroom gravy with a baked potato. And this one was kind of like set up like the old Ryan's, where you could order from the menu or you could order from the buffet.
Or just have the buffet, yeah.
Or just have the buffet, if you will. J-Rock says, good morning. I didn't get to chime in or listen much yesterday due to a training new employee. But just want to say amazing game. Spurrier, I'm glad God waited a week to smile on the Gamecocks.
I almost felt sorry for Tennessee.
Yeah. Xavier chiming in strong as a garlic milkshake from the Pacific Northwest. South Carolina just scored on Tennessee again. Sean says, just hoping Sat doesn't try to outsmart himself with a new game plan this week. Clemson's going to blitz, and more blitz. We win or lose on O-line protection. I agree. It's got to hold up. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you, Tennessee blitzes a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. It's different than Clemson. Clemson's got better athletes up front. But I think that's probably why you got to go attack, Phil, because you throw over the top of it and make them pay, it's going to back them off.
Yeah, they'll ease up a bit, and I think we continue to see a lot more of the Nate Atkins, back there for pass pro. I just, why would you quit that? Why would you quit that?
I just can't quit. I just can't quit it.
Just can't quit you.
Just can't quit
Nate
Atkins. AJM says, hopefully our players stay focused and motivated. Sat will continue calling Sat's offense. Well, depends on what the definition of Sat's offense is. By the way, AJM still think they don't have good players?
Yeah, are the players just still the issue? No.
Just wondered. I hope we take on the Spirit of West Virginia against the upstate team that weekend. Yeah, remember that daggum Orange Bowl that year? Of course, Kevin Steele was the DC there then. He's in Miami now, by the way. Good job.
Great. Dude. Looking good.
Yeah. Preston goes, any thoughts on the Vols saying we put sand on the field to slow down their offense?
Is that just message board trash? Is that somebody
it's garbage.
What the hell
it's garbage. That? Now, listen. Let me just – I'll say this. No, South Carolina didn't do anything like that. But, the Columbia's in the Midlands, a.k.a. the Sand Hills. So I think some genius probably sat there and walked out of the stadium and maybe saw some sand somewhere because they were just looking at the landscape. But, man, they had a bunch of sand and threw it on in the stadium, didn't they? Good old Rocky Top, And they didn't. But here's the thing. Tennessee didn't look slow.
No.
The first first drive of the game, did that look slow to anybody? No.
Now, beat.
Yeah.
You just got beat.
It's unfortunate Hooker hurt himself too, or got hurt too. But I've seen that happen on the most pristine of fields. I mean, he just got caught in the turf. It's part of football, So no, that sand thing's ridiculous. Somebody had been smoking some ganja on the Tennessee end, and I guarantee you, because you don't think about there being sand in Columbia because it's 2 hours from the coast. Way back in ancient times, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, the ocean came up to Columbia.
Right, the ancient ocean,
and that's why they call it the Sand Hills, because there's sand in the Midlands. It happens. I've lived there. We've all been there, right? We all know this for a fact. But somebody from East Tennessee who's wanting to be a sleuth or Sherlock Holmes is probably
no experience other than red clay being the only dirt that exists.
Yes, trying to explain what happened. He or she may have saw one of those big sand piles somewhere, and be like, "That's it. They put sand on the field."
Cheating.
And think about it. You combine that with sandstorm. Sandstorm. Oh my God. God, they're cheaters.
Gamecocks.
University of Tennessee never, ever, 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 ever needs to say anything to the University of South Carolina about cheating.
No.
I'll say that. And I'm not saying Tennessee's always cheating or whatever, but there's some history in recruiting back in the 90s we can pull up. And then there's that little the McDonald's bag episode and all that. So here we go. J Rock says, I think our corners can man up Clemson's receivers. Believe if we can click on offense and even half as good, our defense will play more inspired against the run. We can do things to beat Clemson. Yeah, Clemson's style of offense is not like Tennessee's either. They don't go – they used to go fast, but they don't go extremely fast. AJM says we have a clear advantage of our DBs against their receivers. Yeah, and I'd caution you on that, though, because they do have talent. They're young, but they do have players. And DJ, when he's on, he throws lasers. Now, he's not always on. But
that's what you're hoping. You get the little bit off DJ.
Yeah, and then they'll do some tricky stuff like hit the tight end out of nowhere and things like that. So you got to kind of be, you got a lot to stop there when you're looking at them, and I don't think you can just try to stop one thing. And by the way, I apologize. I keep hitting hitting this sound shield, and I'm sure it's reverberating in your ear. So I'm gonna move my mouse over here so I'm not hitting it. Chris C says the dumbest part about Sandgate is it would slow us down too. That's right. They play on the same field. Josh Van.
They knew what cleats to wear because they knew it was going to be sandy.
Them sand cleats.
I have sand cleats on.
Whatever, Daniel Boone.
Right. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Watch out for Vandy.
No doubt. J-Rock says, I think we can make Clemson one-dimensional. Clemson's front seven stout. To get the ball to Juice, Bell, use DK, you can burn them. Hey, look, if Carolina can make – that was the key to last year's game. Notice DJ only threw for 99 yards. I mean, he didn't have to pass second half. And Dabo's one of these now. He's evolved. And remember, he played for Gene Stallings today. He's an old Alabama guy. So he's evolved, and he'd rather just pound you into submission and beat you 31-6 than getting a shootout. I mean, that's kind of how Clemson's built these days. They don't, they went through the whole Chad Morris period and all that, but now they're like – and they're also kind of like Tennessee, a momentum team. If they snatch the momentum from you, it can snowball on you in a hurry. Because all of a sudden their defense starts playing well, the crowd starts getting into it. It's big play after big play. I mean, it's really important to not get off to a bad start Saturday afternoon. Saunders says there's a pretty good post on TBS about the grass. Tropical storm, cold, cloudy weather, and grass type going into dormancy all required the field to be heavily dressed with sand. So maybe they did put sand on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't slow them down, though.
We only put it out there for every other position.
Yeah. Kagi Gaming said, honestly, the game plan from last week would probably be the best plan to go against Clemson. I agree. I think you just let it all hang out again. I think you just go after them.
Why would you change it? It worked, I mean, it would be so typically us to go in there with something different, but my God, why?
Yeah, I mean, if Lloyd's back, I think it's the same. I think you just add Marshawn to the mix and let Jaheim kind of back him up, move Jaheim around a little bit, because even if Marshawn plays, I don't know that he's going to be able to tote the rock 30 times or something like that. Which a few weeks back, that would have kind of been probably my game plan watching them play Notre Dame is Lloyd has to go off. I don't think that's necessarily the idea. Brian says, morning, I didn't pick last week because I just didn't know. Wasn't convinced we were getting blown out. Wasn't sure if we could pull the upset. Feel the exact same this week. Will asked, what's Marshawn Lloyd's status? I don't know. I have my doubts he's going to play. I mean, but we're going to find out, right? Going to find out. Clemson has the number 44 run offense. Can't let them run all over us. That's true. Definitely. Maybe says we just need to keep taking shots. Based on how they played against Wake Forest, I don't think their DBs can cover us. Let me just clarify this, folks. Chat boxers, listeners, people on the podcast. The Wake Forest game, don't take that as, hey, Rattler's going to go up there and light them up. they were missing like 3 starters, or at least 2 out of their secondary. I think their 2 starting safeties are as a safety and a corner. And just like any team, when you're playing reserves, especially against somebody like Wake Forest, it's going to get dicey. So I think health-wise, they're back to full, at least close to full strength. We'll probably need to get a Clemson injury report some today or tomorrow. I'll look that up. Carolina Titans says they'll want to pound the ball. Gamecocks average more passing yards than them this year. DJ has not been good this year. Yeah, he's had his moments. They really like to run him. So it's kind of like Arkansas, the big old kid back there. You got to, you got to hit him. 8JM says Wake has better receivers than we do, but we probably have the 3rd best receiver corps they've seen. I don't know that I agree with that.
I don't know either.
I mean, I'd probably put those 3 as pretty similar. Pretty similar.
I think they've been showcased better by a more apt offensive coordinator through the year. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
GWO for life says we need to let Rattler spin it again with tempo. We saw what Ohio State did to them with tempo and airing it out on offense. Yes, that's been kind of the bugaboo for Clemson's defense over the years, and they hadn't really played anybody since Wake that's committed to chunking it all over the yard. So I don't know. Ron comes in. Congratulations on the Gamecock win, Ron Mullinax.
Oh,
there you go.
Ron?
There you
Thanks,
go, Ron.
Ronnie, nice.
Saunders says still no Christian UNC fan today. AGM says we have the clear advantage at running back if Lloyd plays. I don't know, man. Maffa and Shipley are good. Wide receiver, I'll give you that. Tight end, I'll give you that. DB, I'll probably give you that. I don't know about O-line. I think Clemson's O-line's pretty good. If you look at they haven't always played that way. And that's kind of the story of Clemson's season. They haven't always played like as great as you'd think they would, but they do have talent. Tiffany says would love to change the trend this year against them. Heck, I felt that way against Missouri, and we didn't get it done. Yeah, Carolina didn't do anything like they did against Tennessee against Missouri.
No, thank goodness.
Rally mode was not that great. Sean said JC made a good point on JC Morgan. Gamecocks have close to equal talent with UT, just wasn't utilized well till last week. Yeah, if you look at that Tennessee roster, they don't have a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys. They have a bunch of guys that have overperformed relative to their ranking that fit their system, and till Saturday night believed. Mm-hmm. And we're all on the same page.
A lot of experience too. Heavy junior, senior laden team.
Yeah, no doubt. Cocky Gaming mentions "Drop Your Nuts" by Cam Smith. It's amazing. Cocky Gaming also says he'd rather have Notre Dame over Free Shoes U, the Knowles in Jacksonville. Closest DL has been way worse than advertised. I don't know about worse. I just don't know that you've seen them destroy people.
Similar to ours, they've underperformed relative to expectations.
I'll say this, though. If you look at them in games sometimes, like the Syracuse game comes to mind, Syracuse is chunking right along. Clemson gets some favorable calls. They score, and then Clemson's defense just shut them completely down. I mean, it's like they flipped a switch, right? Now Miami's anemic on offense. They have quarterback issues. They have issues. Louisville, though, was able to move the ball, et cetera, and then Malik Cunningham got hurt, and that was that. But any news on the Jersey kid? Is he going to play or not? I don't know who you're talking about. AJM2 said, I thought of you watching the game, JC, so not surprised by that smug smile. It's a little smug, right? When you asked me if I thought they don't have good players, that game proved my point. Players performing better was the difference. No, it wasn't, because that offense looked nothing like the offense they ran at Florida. I'm sorry, a blind person can see it. If they'd have lined up against Florida and done what they did against Vanderbilt and still gotten beat, I'd be with you. but that's just not what happened.
But you could just see it was different plays, different calls,
a totally different style of offense. I thought that was obvious, but I was just giving you a little bit of crap. I wasn't trying to come after you about that or anything. All right, we're over the limit here.
We're over the line. Over the line.
Over the line. Lady Bree says it was the same offense. I don't know how on earth you're watching film and can say that. To me, it was the same offense they ran against Vandy, but it was nothing like what they did at Florida. And if you notice, they spread the field more against Tennessee. If you notice, here's the difference. Against Florida, they were tight between the hashes. I don't know how anybody can say that.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that some of the plays were the same, and some of the plays are some that we've seen all year, which is exactly what was coming out of the locker room post game. Was that these are the plays we've been running all year, the ones that we know best. So we use them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just continue to use them as opposed to try to get, cute and creative with that pro style packed in. I don't even know what that is, but let's hope we don't see that this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how anybody can want. I mean, there's a few people out there that don't want to blame the players for everything and that don't understand the limitations of this offense when it's clunky. And I get it. And I know that probably if you sit there and watch play to play and try to circle everything and look at everything, just like people think receivers are open when they're not, I get that. And I totally understand your point of view. And I hope to God, that Carolina just goes out and does the same thing Saturday, and if they get beat, they get beat. But this notion that, this notion that they played the Florida game exactly like they played the Tennessee game is wild. Now, I'll give you Vandy right now, but not Tennessee. Not Florida and not Missouri either, by the way. All right, we're over time. We got to get Sawyer in here.
Yep.
Mental Edge coming up after these messages.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too. So I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, hour on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MerTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
This is Coach O. Now back to the show. Go Tigers in the song.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everyone. The first hour of the show is brought to you by Cindy Searfoss and the Colwell Banker Kane Realty team here in the Upstate. Give Cindy a call for all of your Upstate residential real estate needs, 864-414-5271. And we're joined now for our weekly Mental Edge segment by Sawyer Nix. Sawyer, how you feeling today?
Doing all right. Much better after last week. I think everybody is.
Yeah, that's right. We're
definitely
still...
I got to certainly I got literally my hat, right? I think I predicted double the spread was what we needed, and I was right. It was just the other way, double the spread the other way. So man, that was a big time. And I never will say, you'll never hear me say, and I don't think anybody on the show has heard me say that the team can't do something or that they won't do it. I always say the evidence shows, this and the evidence that pretty much everybody across America had seen, including the best of fans, did not see what was coming. But thank goodness the team has that belief and that they have that just desire to go to war. And I saw that in the game. The players, I mentioned before in other games, there was chippiness on the other side, and the Gamecocks never responded. They didn't seem to be playing with edge in several of those games. The leaders didn't seem to be stepping out. The coaches didn't put them in a place to have success. And this game was the opposite of that. We saw the players standing up. We saw them, celebrating. And I think the momentum was so strong. I think it just started out of the gate and just continued, obviously, with the result. But I think that was a big factor in it, was the momentum going. But I think it was the coaches putting them in that position, the leaders taking hold of that and just moving forward. And then we got what a historic win.
All right, I had to clarify something before we continue with Sawyer here, because I sounded like an idiot. I want to say this. No, they did not install a new offense in 1 week. That's unrealistic. And I should not have used the term new offense. I apologize. It was the same offense, the same plays they've had in the playbook. Keep in mind the playbook's 110 plays long. What they did was scaled it back, and used a lot of window dressing formationally, and they attacked the entire field. And they did not do that against Florida. So, yes, it was the same offense, but it was ran and executed in a different way. And you're right, Spencer did execute it, but it was much more like the Vanderbilt plan of attack than what we saw at Florida or against Missouri. So I hope that clarifies this whole notion that, I misspoke, said new offense. I didn't mean to say new offense. That is unrealistic. And Lady Bree, you guys are right. Lady Bree, you're also right, because Keith said yesterday there were very few tight formations and bunch formations, and he must have missed those, because there were a lot of tight, and they did some tight. They did much more spread, like you said. But that's been my contention all along. I've known the plays have been in the playbook. I just don't know why they don't do it. But we can continue that discussion later. And Sawyer, I think you're absolutely right. There was a lot of leadership that took place, and ownership, I thought,
yes,
heading into that game on Saturday, and they shocked the world, and certainly there are a lot of good feelings about that. How do you get back up? Because I wrote today, the Gamecocks, life of a Gamecock, man. There's no rest for the weary, when you play this schedule every year.
Well, I think it's, rinse and repeat. Okay, what led us to that place? Well, it started from the top down, obviously. Continued the belief. It started with the offensive coaches finally simplifying things, putting the players into plays that they have success, whether that's Joyner. Let him be the guy he is. Let Rattler be the guy he is. Well, how do you let the athletes be successful? Well, you don't put them in a box. You give them opportunities to be successful and have fun, get after it, play with enthusiasm and passion. And that's what we saw. And I think that's what happens when, the players are playing free and loose and fast. And certainly environment contributed to that. The environment contributed to that. Hey, everybody thinks we're going to lose. I'm sure the coaches threw that out there. That contributed to that. So there's many factors that did that. But ultimately, it was the players playing loose and fast and having fun. Certainly one of the big plays that has been pointed out was the Rattler throw to Bell, where it was originally going to Atkins on that goal line kind of play. And then his athleticism and his arm talent and the fight and desire to continue moving forward led to that play, among many. There were many other plays that were very similar to where you saw the athletic abilities from not just Rattler, but all the players. There's Wells, Bell. I think also defensively, they did their part. They got after it. When I saw Warren go down, I was like, oh boy, this is, and I was completely wrong. I was wrong. And I thought, this is trouble. And he played the role. He played the part. And I think that was, just plug and play, enjoy the game, and have fun. And I think that's the same message this week. I think it's, hey, everybody thinks you're going to lose again. You haven't beat these guys. And, you were in middle school when, Gamecocks won or whatever it is. Yeah. And so I think that's going to be the message. Players here. So, all right, we're going to have another simplistic game plan. Fire after it. Next week, you can rest, you can take naps, but this week we're getting after it. We're going to kill them.
Yeah, I think the aggressive mindset, Sawyer, is important to keep up. I think that sometimes look, and I use this point. Like if you can do what you did Saturday night on offense in the game today, I don't think you change that. I think you go in and hey, if Lloyd plays, great. Put him in the same kind of situation, because you can't get too much in a box against these guys, because if it's easy for them to dissect, they have great athletes on defense. It's going to be a long day. You're going to have another game where you don't cross the 50. So I would, and I don't know what they'll do. But I would just continue to do what they did against Vandy and they did against Tennessee because, Vandy, they put 31 on the board at half. Tennessee, obviously, was Tennessee. So, that kind of spreading the field, make them defend the entire field, get ahead of the chains. Don't be afraid to launch it. Rattler's got the arm.
I think a little more backyard ball, I think, is maybe been a descriptor that I think people have someone threw that out. I forgot who put that out there, but a little more backyard ball. And I think that seems to work.
Yeah, it did. And Rattler played with confidence. And I hope that confidence continues because I do think he's going to get hit more than Tennessee was able to hit him on Saturday night. I don't know that it's realistic to just keep the Tigers completely away from getting sacks and pressures and all that good stuff. Maybe so. You never know. I mean, look, in 2018, a lot of the same guys that are playing in Carolina's offensive line were playing for Carolina that year. Clemson had a bunch of All-Americans up front, and they gave Jake time. Jake lit him up. Not saying that Rattler will throw for 500 yards, but I would definitely go out with that kind of mindset if I were Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield.
And I also see Clemson lining up way more than Tennessee did. I mean, Tennessee had a few delayed blitzes, and they had a few blitzes, but I just see Clemson, they're notorious for lining up more and bringing more or bringing less and a lot more mind games. So I see that being a factor this week. Yeah. I think the players will have to definitely be focused. So while we want them to be loose and fast and have some fun, there's going to be that challenge from the Clemson defense that we'll be seeing that we haven't seen.
Absolutely. Well, Thanksgiving is this week, Sawyer. Talk a little bit about the holidays and how we all can approach the holidays better, especially, and I nowadays I don't have to worry about it, but because obviously it was a different time, but, my ex-wife had a lot of Clemson people in her family. And I liked it when they moved the game to after Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, to before Thanksgiving, because after Thanksgiving, I would just dread it. I mean, that would make the pressure of the game, and then that way you don't have to worry about those folks till Christmas, right? So you got a month, kind of heal. But just talk in general about the Thanksgiving holidays, great gratitude, like you always talk about, just kind of handling the stress of it because it can get stressful and all that stuff.
I don't know if you've heard, we've all heard of Black Friday. I don't know if you've heard of Black Wednesday. That around Thanksgiving is actually one of the times for the highest alcohol sales of the year historically. It's not New Year's. It's not July 4th, Memorial Day, Labor Day, St. Patrick's Day. It's Thanksgiving. Why is that? Well, certainly people have hypothesized that being around family is a factor. You have to be around those folks once a year. Maybe you haven't seen them in a year and you got to be around them, or maybe there are a lot of rabid Clemson fans. They're sometimes aggravating and needle you on everything. Whatever the case may be, certainly I think being aware this time of year is important. We've mentioned before, taking a step back, I think is really important. So taking a step back, taking a break, acknowledging things are not so great. Acknowledge, hey, I got to spend 30 minutes or an hour with uncle so-and-so or sister or brother or aunt or whatever, perhaps even parent, whoever it is. And, don't pretend and try and lie to yourself. Acknowledge, hey, this is going to be maybe difficult, but maybe I'll enjoy a meal and get to visit with some family that I do enjoy. So part of it is learn who you are and then respond to that. And if you need to take a break, take a break. Make sure that, getting sleep and rest is important. Balanced diet's important. Certainly we tend to overindulge a little bit, and that's okay for a bit, but a day or two of that doesn't need to turn into 3 or 4 days. You'll feel miserable and won't be good.
Hey, I've done that before. Gosh, it's 2016. I kind of had a 4-day party over Thanksgiving. And by the time that Sunday rolled around, boy, shoot, buddy.
Yeah.
Shoot,
yeah.
buddy.
So just plan and be prepared. I think when people usually holidays really hit them hard is when they have unrealistic expectations and they go into a situation and they get blindsided, and then they get out of their own element again. They, too many things change. And certainly, again, I'll be eating some turkey and some pie, and I make the turkey and I make the dressing. So, that's always a challenge for myself to show up and show out. And if things are good, it's me. If things are bad, it's me. And so always enjoy that. But taking a step back and acknowledging, hey, things may be tough, but I need to take care of myself. I need to say no. That's another thing that I think sometimes during the holidays, especially as we agree to things, whether it's spending more on Black Friday or buying gifts already, or hey, you offered me this third plate of food. Sure, I'll take the third plate of food. When maybe two is good. 2 is good, and some pie. Maybe you don't need that third. So continuing to kind of focus on that, and also setting aside differences is important during this time. That sometimes those little differences can really wreak havoc and cause conflict, but we don't want that to become a problem and ruin the holidays. And sometimes for holidays, people experience loss, whether it's separation, divorce, loss of a family member, loss of a job. So I think that's the other thing, is being mindful of those around us, that maybe we're having a good time, maybe we're not. But I think it's, again, just acknowledging this time of year is mixed for everybody. It's not always the best time of the year. Sometimes it can be the most painful time of the year for some people.
I remember when I was a kid, talk about adults being stressed during the holidays. And look, we always had great holidays. We went over to my grandmother's, my dad's. My dad died in 95, but we always went over to the Sherbert side of the family in Spartanburg. I always had a wonderful time. Never any conflict, anything. Of course, there's no alcohol involved then, or anything like that. I think some families on Thanksgiving throw down, and that may cause a little friction, but it was always nice. But I always noticed my dad was in a bad mood, like rah, 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 until we got there, and then everything was fine. So that was kind of an example of that stress. I'm lucky this year. Nat's parents are out of town for a few days, and then I don't think we have the kids either, so we may hit up like the buffet at the casino, like old people, like the old folks do, and rock and roll, So I get it. All right, Sawyer. So the contest, right? And we're going to give away another prize pack. And this contest, get on Twitter. You got to get on Twitter. You got to tag Sawyer at Sawyer Nix and tag at the Big Spur Pod. And look, if you're listening not only to the live stream, I know we have thousands that listen after the fact on the podcast. Just get on Twitter and do it too. Tag at the Big Spur Pod, at Sawyer Nix. Tell us what you're most thankful for this Thanksgiving. Okay, everybody's answer is going to be really good, right? Even if it's sarcastic or whatever, right? So we didn't want to choose. There's no best answer. So what we're going to do, we're going to put everybody kind of in a hat, and I'm going to draw out the winner of the prize pack. But you have to do that, and you have to tag both Twitter accounts to enter, and we'll get you a prize pack out next week.
And what you're thankful for the show?
Oh, thankful for the show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, grateful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to say the show. What makes you thankful for this show?
That's right, because we want to hear you love us.
We just want to hear how much you love us. But no, but that's the thing. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So what you're the most what makes you the most thankful for the show? Because I do get emails that say I'm thankful for the show. Yeah, it's a release. It's 2 hours of a highlight of my day, that kind of thing. I appreciate that. I know not everybody feels that way, but I do appreciate those of you that do. So yeah, so tweet at us. What makes you thankful for the show at the Big Spur Pod, at Sawyer Nix, and then and this is open to the folks that listen on podcast, or if you're back listening to the YouTube stream on archive, anybody can enter that. Then we're going to draw a prize, draw the winner, and announce it next Tuesday during the Middle Edge. Well, Sawyer, I know you're right up the road from Memorial Stadium. And you may be able to hear Tiger Rag Saturday around noon o'clock, right? No. But anyway, I wish you and your family the best. Certainly, we've enjoyed these mental edge segments, and looking forward to talking to you again next week.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Same to y'all. I'm a stickler for waiting for Christmas until Santa shows up at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So holding on to that. Then I'll look forward to the game on Saturday. I'm going to predict Gamecocks to win. I don't know score. I don't know how it's going to get done, but I think they have the momentum going. And if they can rinse and repeat what they did last week, or even a portion of that, and play with their pants on fire like they should every game, then they're going to have success. And I look forward to seeing that, and next week being a great segment celebrating that.
All right, guys.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you, Sawyer. Thanks so much. That's Sawyer Nix with the mental edge. Don't forget, again, and I'll repeat this since I screwed it up. Sometimes these contests get a little complicated for me.
Yeah, this one we tried to simplify this one a little bit, even for my understanding. Yeah.
So I would get. So again, tweet to @theBigSpurPod @Sawyer Nix. What makes you thankful for the show, or what about the show makes you thankful? Basically, just I guess. And look, we didn't come up with that. Me and Phil didn't sit around and go, I'm in need of some praise. Let's run a contest and hijack Thanksgiving. No, that was Sawyer's idea. So
no, we're just emphasizing, Sawyer's inflection on gratitude.
Yeah, there's a method to his madness, folks. That's why he's got the mental edge and we don't. And lots of talk about that. I think we've kind of gotten into the play calling thing. Lady Bree adds, I'll give you this, JC. The first half of the Florida looked different than the second. I put more on play calling in the first, more on players in the second. For sure, Sat needs to have a better game. Well, yeah, I think, and I think that kills you when you get off that kind of start and you don't give your team the opportunity. But I'll give you this point. In the second half, when you have those 3 turnovers, I did see them trying to go downfield a little more and do some of the different things. My point of contention is, you had that Vandy game. Why didn't you take the same approach?
And that's what we've been saying all year, JC, is that it's not very cohesive. You never know what you're going to get every week, and that is not how you do this.
The biggest problem I've heard from contacts about it is I don't understand why we try to reinvent the wheel every week. It's been that way for 20-something games. I don't think they tried to reinvent the wheel for Tennessee. I think they went through, did some self-scouting, picked out what they're good at running in practice, what Spencer's comfortable with, and they rocked and rolled. What everybody's comfortable with. And it looked different because there were kind of some different – like that first pass of the game to Trey Kenyon. I hadn't heard his name since Georgia, right?
Right, yeah.
There you go. Well, great. That's a great play and all that. And I thought, my biggest point of contention above and beyond the play calling or the scheme or the complexity of it has been personnel use. I think against Vandy and Tennessee, they used their personnel correctly. I thought it was actually an advantage. So we'll see sort of what happens. Lady Bree says she wasn't impressed with the Vandy game. I was in the first half. Second half got really ugly with the penalties and stuff. But, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to go downtown and throw it and all that good stuff.
I think seeing what Vanderbilt did after playing us kind of brings a bit more of an impressive light onto the performance that we gave them, because that's what has been bubbling up inside of Andy all year long, is to jump up and trip some people up.
And I'm telling you what, Mike Wright, their quarterback's going to be a handful in the year or year. I think he'll be a senior next year for Vanderbilt, and I think their OC does a fantastic job. And they attacked Florida kind of like South Carolina should have. Now I'll flip this around because I know Lady Bree, talks about the defense and stuff like that a lot. I thought Vandy had a much better plan against Florida on defense than South Carolina. I think the Gamecocks in that game at Florida should have sold out to stop the run at all costs, and then put their DBs on an island against Florida's receivers, which are not great. and let Richardson beat you through the air. Richardson throws for 400 against Vandy, and they still lost. So that's the kind of that's kind of the thing right there. And I also will mention this: South Carolina personnel package wise, that's not formations; it's personnel packages. Tim Tebow mentioned that Rattler told him at 20 different personnel packages against Florida. They scaled that back tremendously. And personnel packages, I mean like substitutions, things like that. As I said, Carolina's blessed with some versatile guys. They can run different formations with the same guys and the same plays out of different formations, et cetera. It's fascinating stuff to get into. I just know it worked. And I know that if I were Shane Beamer, I would be in the offensive meeting this week saying, just keep doing that.
Just keep doing it.
Put a little wrinkles, put wrinkles in it, do whatever. And I'm in the defensive meeting going, listen, you guys, you failed miserably to stop the run last year. This year, we got to sell out to do it. And if DJ beats you, I can't pronounce his last name. That's why I just say DJ. And I'm not trying to make Clemson people mad. If DJ throws for 500 yards and they win, so be it.
Yeah, I can live with that result. Yeah, I can live with that.
But they got a lot of people up around the line of scrimmage and things like that. So we will be, I think that would be what I would do in that situation. All right. The show. We'll be back. Second hour, more Nana's Porch chat box. Got some mailbag questions to get into. Saxman SC on Twitter with a snarky comment about my article. He's like, it takes real insight to write the obvious. And I look at all these guys, this guy's tweet. He's a music and sales consultant. Blah, 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 Elon Musk, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Why does Leggett keep dropping passes? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Some people get on Twitter. I think it's kind of their release just to gripe and take shots.
Let it out like a purge.
Those people are called losers. Okay. So anyway, we'll be back after these messages inside the Gamecocks the show. If you're a listener, I feel strongly that if you're in the upstate and are in need of real estate services, Cindy Searfoss is your go-to person. Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane can help you with any of your realty needs right there in the upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, wherever you are. Cindy can help you with that. She's married to a diehard Gamecock fan, has been in the upstate for more than 35 years. Right there in my hometown of Spartanburg, Daniel Morgan Avenue. Contact Cindy, 864-414-5271, or email csearfoss, CSEARFOSS, at cbcaine.com, CBCAINE. That's Cindy Searfoss, a proud sponsor of the Inside the Gamecocks podcast. Check her out. We've already gotten several emails from listeners that are very impressed with her professionalism and her ability to help you with your real estate needs. 864-414-5271, Cindy Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
What's up? This is Jaheim Bell with the Gamecocks, and you're now listening to Inside the Gamecocks show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. The second hour of the show is brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call or shoot them an email at abergeson, that's ABERGESON, at remax.net. And I was kind of trying to comb through Twitter here, JC, to see if we could find some stuff. I saw the one you mentioned earlier. I don't know who this guy is, and yeah, he doesn't really put anything out there that you can figure out who he is.
I just think he's a clown.
No name, just a clown.
Whatever, clown.
Whatever, clown. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. I thought Gamecock Pastor had one in here.
Yeah, he's got one right here. I've got it up.
Yeah. The one about Lloyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if Lloyd is healthy enough to play next week, how do you see Sat integrating him into the game plan while maintaining the aggression they used on Saturday? Give Bell's carries to Lloyd. This is under the assumption we stay aggressive against Clemson at the Big Spur Pod. Yeah,
I think Lloyd fits perfectly into that kind of offense. I mean,
I thought so too.
He'll have a lot more room to run. I mean, you know, that type. I keep saying not like it's a different offense. That into those play into that style. Let me just call it a style of play. How about that? Into that style of play, that aggressive mindset. And I do think you still need to run Bell. I think you also keep throwing it to Bell out of the backfield like you did. Again, I'm gonna say this. It's a situation where even if Lloyd plays, I don't know how many carries he's going to be able to do. Even if the bruise is kind of fine, just because he hadn't played in a while, right? Mm-hmm. When was the Missouri game, Phil? End of October?
Yeah. It was the last game in October.
The last game of October. Mm-hmm. So we're going on a month where he hadn't played. You kind of get out of game shape doing that, even though you're still working out and stuff like that. So, you know, I would think that if he were back and ready to go, great. But I do think you're still going to have to use Jaheim quite a bit, Juju and whoever else, just because I don't know how many carries Lloyd will be able to do and, you know, before getting winded and things of that nature. So, but heck yeah, you can use him because the guy, you know, especially if he's in a rhythm like he has been, I mean, he's got so much natural ability to make people miss and get upfield and stuff like that. He brings you something else that even with the collection of athletes or whatever players that was on display against Tennessee, Lloyd's a different animal than that. So I would just say stick him in there. Let's roll, you know, if I'm the Gamecocks, if that's the case. So that would be it. Thanks, Gamecock Pastor. Hope you're hanging in there. And
yeah, man.
Rally Package says Rally Package Enthusiast, that's a heck of a name. Is this a trap game for Tennessee? Hear me out. I think it could be. It's at home. Tennessee hadn't had many true road games. Pick us by 50. Slim chance it's a competitive ball game. More like Hyatt catches 5 touchdowns and they destroy us. Well, kind of just the opposite happened. And he said, not going to say I predicted because I didn't, but it was running through my mind. I mean, I'll tell you this, like game day, I started kind of sitting there thinking, well, Carolina could probably, and maybe it's just like on game day, I was, maybe I'm more of a fan and I'm not thinking about it objectively. It's not going to talk myself into it. But I kind of started thinking in the lead up to the game, I'm like, man, a lot of crazy stuff's happened today. I didn't expect Illinois to go in and play Michigan off their feet. I didn't expect Georgia to only put up 16 against Kentucky, although that was a brutally ugly game. I didn't expect Vandy to beat Florida. And so I was sitting there thinking, I was like, teams change so much week to week. Maybe Tennessee stumbles and maybe the Gamecocks can hang with them for a half. And I wasn't really concerned when Carolina when the lead ended up being like 4 in the second half. And I think it's because of that stat. Isn't it, Phil, that there have not been any lead changes this year in any Carolina game at all?
Yeah,
or was it SEC?
It's SEC.
Because Georgia State and Charlotte both had early leads, but SEC wise, no lead changes,
none. Yeah,
so maybe that's why I just kind of said, well, they're up. So
I know. Yeah, you started hot, and you're just like, well, there we go, and it just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming.
And one thing I will say about this offense. And as far as what it's been, is I'll tell you this: even if it's just running the ball like they do in most games, and the other team can't stop it. And this is the first game, by the way, under Marcus Satterfield that Carolina has not run crazy over the other team and had a great day on offense. Once it gets going, they usually get going. You can usually tell. When the offense gets going, it gets going. Auburn last year was a comebacker. Gamecocks kind of came to life after being down 14-0. But other than that, once the offense gets going, if you get into the second, third quarter and they're still moving the ball, there's a chance they're going to continue to move it most of the time. So, Daddy O says everybody can just block the troll and you'll never see their comments, but they don't realize they're blocked just talking to themselves. Not going to block that. Hunter Goat from Pro, 130th in pass defense. Is South Carolina 130th in pass defense? Oh, Tennessee.
Talk about Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Clemson's what, 51st? But I don't think it's going to take 63 to win the game on either side. So,
No, I don't know. I mean, and he's probably looking at the current week, which is factoring in what we did to them. What was it before we rolled in there?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's pass defense has been like 110th or so in the country. They have not been good, but they've had a top 15 total defense, right? Because they don't let teams run the ball. Carolina actually ran it okay. How many yards?
Effective. That's the whole key to it, is just being effective.
Yeah, Carolina had about 153 rushing yards in the game. So that's a pretty good game on the ground. You can't be one-dimensional against anybody, I don't think. Carolina Titan said you could tell Rattler was feeling when he stiff-armed the guy for the first down. Absolutely. AJM says, I didn't realize they were that bad. Tennessee defensive stat is concerning. Well, go back. I agree that wasn't a great pass defense statistically at all. But go back and listen to the interview with Wes Rucker last week. He'll explain kind of why. And go look at their games. I mean, LSU didn't throw it all over them, did they? Scored a bunch of points. No. Georgia only scored 27. Missouri only scored 24.
And game script plays a lot into that too, especially when you're talking about rankings, talking about statistics and percentages. Like teams get down early against Tennessee and have to abandon the run. So therefore they're running a higher percentage of pass plays. Thus, you have a higher percentage of passing yards against your defense. So it's not trash. It's just that this game script, begs a lot of that happen.
Well, and you run a lot of play. Teams run a lot of plays against Tennessee because they go so fast. You probably get 2-3 extra possessions that you don't normally get. But look, man, I'm not saying Tennessee. I'll be honest. If I were a Tennessee person, people like Kamal Haddon and Jamal McCullough and that crew back there, I would be very disappointed in them because a lot of those guys have talent, and they just flatulated all over the field.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
I mean, they didn't respond. The Gamecocks beat their butt. The Gamecocks receivers.
And here's the other thing, JC, is we played poor secondaries before and teams that have give up, huge amounts of air yards, and we have not been able to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But we did
exactly. AJM says Phil's thoughts are fair on game strip, but it isn't the difference between decent and 130th. Well, they're 130th because Carolina threw for 438 yards on them. Other teams
this week.
We just clearly explained why they're and West. If you don't believe us, believe the Vol Insider we had on last week. I'm not saying they're a good pass defense. I'm not.
No.
But I'm saying is, they're not the worst in the. I mean, I think their pass defense this year, and I've watched them play a lot, is probably better than Arkansas's. I think if Tennessee played Arkansas right now, or even after Arkansas did well with KJ coming back, they would probably throw for 700. No, they'd probably throw for about 5. So I understand. Alabama threw all over them. LSU did not. Kentucky only scored 6 with the mighty NFL. Top 5 pick Will Levis and all those guys we talked about. So I don't know. Maybe said they are currently 87 in yards per pass attempt after what we just did. Trung says, "Hey, JC and Phil, good to be back. Quick fact: most points scored by an unranked team against a top 5 team ever. Wow, college football history, huh?"
Yep. I think it's ever since the AP era. So yeah, might as well be. The AP's been around for a good hot minute.
Gamecocks make history, college football history, not just Carolina history. So that's the deal. Tiffany asked, "Did we recruit and have McCullough at one point?" It was one of those things where Carolina was kind of the early favorite, but then he started visiting Tennessee a lot. And Tennessee, I think Chuck Kelly, who's at Alabama now, he has some connections to Cobb County. That's where Jamal's from, I think. And he was on that staff. And Tennessee, by the time he went there, Carolina was completely out of it. But yeah, he was a much talked about recruit, and there were crystal balls in for the Gamecocks. Trung says, "Seems like every week we're feeling good and we lay an egg. We feel like crap. And when we feel like crap, we win, huh?" I agree with that. The up and down nature, and that's got to change at some point. You can't keep going. And in my column today on the Big Spur, I went back and pointed out a lot of times where it goes from high to low real quick, starting with the 2017 Kentucky game, rolling on through to the 2018 Florida game, rolling on through the 2019 Florida game. I'll go call the 2020 LSU game one of those because Carolina beat Auburn. LSU's averages grits and playing a daggum backup quarterback with Coach O at the helm. We're going to beat South Carolina with TJ Finley. He's going to complete 80% of his passes. Yeah, sure. Who thought that was coming? Right. That was a letdown and caused everything to spiral. Last year, Missouri on the road after beating Florida like they did, and everybody was stunned. And then Clemson after you beat Auburn. And it wasn't so much Clemson won the game as it was the manner in which they did We basically, and that's my thing for this weekend. At a minimum, I would just like to not watch the same damn game between Clemson and South Carolina that I've watched for 6 years. It's the same thing. It's dominant. Carolina can't move it. Clemson can't be stopped. There was the one exception that 1 year, but it's and the only year I can really say that I think it was more of a mismatch than it should have been. Well, there's 2 years. I think 2017, that team, that defense that year caused a lot of turnovers. I don't think Clemson with Kelly Bryant at quarterback was very good. They were hitting their stride at the time. Mm-hmm. Carolina had some injuries, big surprise. Jake threw the pick six early, and then they rolled. And Carolina's defense played way out of control that game. It wasn't like them. I think Carolina could have been in that game. I'll go with last year too. I thought that game, when all was said and done, could have ended up kind of like Clemson's Cheez-It Bowl win, right? Against Iowa State last year, like a 20-13-esque type of deal. Maybe Clemson turns it over because Clemson will turn the ball over, and that was disappointing because it wasn't. It was the same. We're Clemson. We're going to line up against you and run it up your throat. We're going to complete timely passes, and we're going to keep you from crossing the 50. Same formula. A different staff, different year, different players, same formula. They win. And I guarantee you they're looking to do the same thing Saturday. Quantrell says, I think Carolina will play loose Saturday. If they withstand the first half storm and have it within 10, they'll win. Yeah. Brian points out, Mitch Jeter scored 9 points and never even kicked a field goal.
Love it.
Stat of the year.
Love it.
Rick says, what do our chances look like if the weather's sloppy? Usually when it's raining, you don't want wind, but when it's raining, coaches have talked about how it actually favors the pass game offense because your receivers know where they're going and the DBs don't. In other words, so the DBs will slip a little bit and boom, you can get something like that. I don't know. I don't know usually when you talk about the weather, first and foremost, it's usually good weather. And when if we're talking about like Tuesday, bad weather for Saturday. And then it's like, nah, it ends up being good. And then, usually it doesn't impact the game at all. But Carolina's played some rainy games up at Memorial Stadium. I think 92, Tannehill signed his name on the field. They broke a streak that day with Sparky Woods. So we'll see. John says from the Pacific Northwest, if this game is in the fourth quarter, all the pressure will be on Clemson, not us. I agree.
So this whole game is us playing with house money.
Yeah.
Because now it's the same situation for Clemson as it was for Tennessee. You have to win impressively to make your mark and put a statement on this game for the committee because you are not guaranteed a spot in the Final Four. Especially now. Oh, my goodness. Think about all the scenarios that could play out now after what happened this past weekend. But they need a resounding win to firmly seal that up. And then, of course, do whatever they're going to do to North Carolina.
Getting North Carolina losing was bad for them.
Yeah, it was real bad.
We're talking about the playoff goes because, you're North Carolina. I mean, you're obviously playing for an ACC title. North Carolina's probably going to be at least a 9, maybe a 10-win team. I don't know if they'll beat NC State or not. But if they were 11-1, I think that would be a big difference. Well, now you got Southern Cal, assuming they beat Notre Dame. They're going to be going to play probably Oregon, assuming they beat the Beavers. And that'll be kind of considered a more impressive win and all that good stuff. So it should be interesting. I'm for Chinooks or Chunk. I'm for Chunk. Chunk. Like, is this like a Goonies reference? Chunk or Chunk? I'm for Chunk. What's the normal Gamecock to Clemson fan ratio? I love Chunk.
Chunk.
I love that movie.
I do too, man. It's great.
One-Eyed Willie. Normal Gamecock to Clemson fan ratio when they played Death Valley. It's less than it's kind of less than it used to be. It used to be 12,000 for each at the opposing stadiums. Now I guess 10,000 is the ticket allotment, maybe 8. It's gotten less for both teams as time has moved on. But I think there could be 10,000 Gamecocks in the stands. I mean, like maybe said and Phil said, they're playing with house money at this point. It was an exciting game last week. There's momentum. Carolina has a shot to go win. Most of the time when those are the circumstances, Carolina shows up pretty big at Clemson. And it's also, I think this is the first time in 4 years they've played there. Because remember, there was no 2020 game.
2020, yeah, no game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first time in 4 years they played at Memorial Stadium. Trunk says my point was how we can't find some consistency no matter if we win or not just be competitive in games we do lose. Yeah, that's the next step for the program under Beamer is to find that consistency. And I think, quite frankly, it starts with the offense and the game planning on offense. So we shall see. Lady Bream I remember the 92 game like it was this year. Oh, wait, I watched it this year. It's on YouTube. I was a happy individual that day. I was in high school, I guess. Clemson, let's see, during that stretch, it was kind of like a decline period for Clemson because they were 89. They beat Carolina 45-0 at Williams-Brice. And that was when Dickie DeMazy was the quarterback. And Ellis had gotten hurt. And that team just lost it after Todd got hurt. Sparky's first year. And then the next year, 90, they gave him a game. It was like 24-15. And that was during Hatfield's first year. 91 was like 41-24, competitive, but not that great. And then 92 that was Hatfield's second to last year. And they went 5-6. They had a tough season. And Carolina went up there and smacked them 24-13. That was the year that Tannehill took over, and Carolina was a 5-point loss at the Swamp. I don't understand how that Carolina team against Steve Spurrier in Florida in 1992 lost 14-9. How did the Gamecock defense hold them to 14 points? I mean, even though the Gamecocks played really good defense down the stretch and had some good players. Anyway, so the Gamecocks went up there and won, and everybody's fired up. And Sparky goes to Georgia, and the opener the next year, and that's when Brandon Bennett went over the top, and Munson was like, Aaron inverted wishbone, the power eye thing. And Tannehill's up to the lay down, you dogs. Lay down. And he broke our hearts with 2 seconds to go. We couldn't stay on the ground long enough. And then the bottom fell out. Because everybody was like, yay, Sparky. It was year 5, and boy, Alabama was coming to town a couple weeks, and all of a sudden, boom, Carolina loses by a point at Arkansas and Danny Ford the next week. Lost by 4 on a Thursday night game at home against Kentucky and their backup quarterback who ran the option. By the time the Bama game got there, it was 17-6. I mean, and they were just lost, and they finished 4-7. Sparky got fired. Brad Scott got hired. Sparky left Brad a pretty good team, and then they won their first bowl game. Rick's, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Quantrell asked any news on Edwin Joseph and what position he'll play. Heck of a game to attend. Yeah, they want him as a receiver. Really fast player, South Florida guy. Give me all the guys from South Florida that can run I can get. He's got Auburn, visit Auburn, kind of Louisville. I think Carolina's in pretty good shape. With South Florida kids, man, and if they don't have like Florida and Miami offers or FSU or even like they'll go wherever. I mean, I'm not saying they're mercenaries, but you actually can get, a lot of good athletes just kind of recruiting against Louisville and those schools down there. Daddy O points out Carolina and Clemson both have fumbled the ball 21 times each. Yeah, Tigers will turn it over.
Yep, they do. They do.
Tigers will turn
it over.
Now,
they'll turn you over, too. That's the other thing. That is a good defense.
AJM2 says we returned a large portion of our allotment. That was a rumor. Somebody found out if that was true. because it was a rumor that they returned it. People were talking about it. And then I got an email from USC saying, hey, buy Clemson tickets. They're on sale. And so they still had them after so USC was still selling Clemson tickets after they allegedly returned a big bunch of their allotment. So I don't know. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if that happened just because of kind of the way the seasons were going. But that's kind of the deal there. Somebody find out the facts on that. And let's have the facts about that anyway. Nathan says, walking around work in Savannah, Georgia, and all my Bulldog friends are saying Beamer ball is amazing. Yeah, I had a few phone calls from some Georgia friends on Saturday too because they didn't want to play Tennessee again. I think they felt fortunate and didn't really want to match up with them again in a playoff. And if you think about it, Phil, if I'm Georgia, I don't want to do that either because, okay, so you stopped them and you had a really good game doing it, and it's not easy to do. And then if you wait a month to like a semifinal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you give him all that extra game plan time. Yeah.
It's going to be harder to kind of get locked in on it. So
get healthy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cocky Gaming says, I'd love a USC versus Southern Cal bowl game. So many storylines, battle over the trademark, etc. Yeah, I think SC's probably Rose Bowl bound if they don't make the playoff. I think so. But Notre Dame, heck, Notre Dame played Notre Dame since 1984.
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be great. You know, play another premier program. You know, one of the biggest brands in college football.
One of the biggest sports brands, I think, in the world, Phil.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, you know, Notre Dame football is synonymous with American football. You can go anywhere in the world, they're like American college football. Oh, Notre Dame, Gipper.
Oh, yeah, Irish. Yeah, the Gipper.
So go out there and win one for the Gipper.
Win for the Gipper. Rudy. I mean, you know, everybody knows Notre Dame. Mm-hmm.
As I move my
there he is.
My iconic picture of Rudy with a cold draft beer.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, we'll be back. All right, Trunk has a question about Carolina Rise. Can you explain how Carolina Rise works in terms of NIL? Because I am thinking about contributing what I can. We'd love to have you, Trunk. Go to CarolinaRiseMembers.com or CarolinaRise.com. The 1801 Club is awesome. It's $18.01 a month. We're trying to get 2,500 of those in. You get a magnet, a koozie, and a Christmas card and all that happiness. So what we do, you guys are like members of Carolina Rise, and there's different benefits that'll take place. Like we're going to have a tailgate, and as we continue to grow, there'll be more, prizes, gifts, whatever for you guys. And then we take that money. I don't make any money off of it. Neither does my brother, who co-owns it. And we go and facilitate promotional deals for student athletes at South Carolina. You see the Jaheim Bell commercial here. We paid him for that. Gigi Jackson is one of our clients. We've paid him for some promotional stuff, and it's worked out well. I think that if I could get maybe $100,000 annually more coming in, which is not, when you kind of break it down per person, that's not a whole bunch. You're talking hundreds, not thousands. I think it'd be pretty significant in terms of contributing to the NIL situation in South Carolina. So CarolinaRiseMembers.com, CarolinaRise.com. Would love to have you, Trump, definitely. Give what you can. And you can also, if you don't want to give monthly, there's a one-time thing. You want to just give $100 for the year, same membership benefits and all that good stuff. 8JM says a quick search reveals the source of their allotment return story was Don Munson, their radio guy, who I assume is a reliable source on what's happening inside Clemson's athletic department. Yes, but guess what? My question would be why he reports this, but then 2 days later, why is South Carolina still selling Clemson tickets? Logic, right? Logic. But yeah, it would be disappointing if the Gamecocks return tickets, and I bet people regret it now. So we'll see. But I don't trust Don. I don't trust that coming out from there. I don't. Just based on the fact that USC was selling them 2 days after that happened. If I didn't get that email, I'd say, yeah, It's probably bad. So anyway, we'll be back. Final break inside the Gamecocks, the show, after these messages.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON at remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Hey, folks, JC here. I've told you about Nana's Porch over and over again. They sponsor our chat box on the show. Don't take my word for it, though. I wanted you to hear from Gamecock pitcher Noah Hall about our sponsor, Nana's Porch, nanasporch.com. Go there, food truck, catering, whatever you need. Take it away, Noah.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
This is Coach O. Now back to the show. Go Tigers in the song.
Well. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Second hour of the show brought to you by the Burgesson team at RE/MAX at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call for all your commercial or investment real estate needs. Shoot them an email at aburgesson, that's ABERGESON at remax.net. was still trying to dig into this ticket allotment thing, JC. I don't know. Who cares? We're going to show up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and I don't know. AJM2 says maybe he's a liar. I don't know that anybody's a liar. I think people hear things, they get things wrong. Maybe both could be right, because maybe South Carolina, somebody called up and said, hey, we're probably going to be sending some tickets back to you. And so then it leaked, right? Because, anything to make South Carolina look bad from those folks' ends, even though they don't really, based on their success, they don't need to, but that's fine. Maybe they leaked it, so then Carolina was like, well, shoot, let's try to sell them, and so that's what happened. So I don't know. I don't blame Carolina fans for not gobbling up those tickets after the Missouri game, just to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, David Cloninger, who is our good friend, and got to get him back on soon. I'll make a mental note of that. Spencer Rattler, press conference today. Success last Saturday was due to less personnel groupings, tempo stayed up, didn't substitute as much.
For the love of God, if we haven't been saying that for 10 straight weeks. No, I take that back. 23 straight weeks.
Yeah. So there you go. And like I said, I misspoke. I said it was a different offense. It's not, because when you got a playbook that vast, you can really look different week to week.
Yeah, you could have like 5 or 6 different offenses.
but that's what they did. They scaled back the operational aspects of it, and I think in college you have to do that. I don't know of a single program around the country that's successful going, we're going to run 175 personnel groupings, in and out like they were doing. Because it does, Rattler's right, it slows you down. It gets and even with all that, Spencer Rattler's not the quarterback to do it. I mean, maybe he could do it with a Stetson Bennett in his 4th or 5th year, but that's not Rattler's game. And so, hey, there you go. Dabo Swinney also kind of had something funny.
Well, the thing I found interesting about what we saw Saturday, JC, is that Spencer Rattler had his best game as a Gamecock, had arguably the best quarterback performance in a Gamecock uniform, and didn't take all the snaps.
Yeah. How about that? I like it. I like how they use Joyner.
I know. I mean, it's just we could have been doing this all freaking.
Call me crazy. I think that helps him, but at the same time, with the Joyner thing, you can't do what you did against Georgia on a key down when it's game 3, and everybody that saw you do it last year during the regular season until the bowl game knows that he's going to keep it. I mean, Georgia sniffed that out. Yeah, but like I said with Joyner, it's a package, not just a single play. It's a package. And they put him in there 2-3 plays, and they rock and roll. Dabo Swinney said something funny in his press conference today. I have to give him props for this. Swinney was asked by a TV reporter why he embraces the rivalry concept and rivalry week when others downplay rivalries. And he goes, because I grew up in Alabama. Where'd you grow up? And she goes, Chicago. And he goes, there you go. That's true, man. Ain't nobody getting fired up about Illinois Northwestern up here this week, man. The dang Wildcat fans aren't sitting there, I got it. Hope we beat the dang Illini, Spencer Rattler also falls on the stuffing side of the stuffing versus dressing debate. I think we have to have some stuffing. We're going to probably do Cornish game hens.
I'm making dressing. I do the whole thing. We get the family together, as many as can show up, and host it here at the house, man. And just, I love it. I start cooking. I'm actually going to start cooking as soon as we get off the air today.
So it's your show, huh? I've never known that.
I am not just Mike Leach making the gravy. I make it up.
Actually, I like the gravy. The gravy's kind of my thing. I do the gravy.
It's really great, man. Me and the missus will wake up early, Thursday, and be in there, and we'll cook all day long, just together. Getting to spend time together. It's a really fun. It's really great.
We did that last year for Christmas. I don't remember what we did on Thanksgiving last year. Kind of maybe shows you what I was doing.
Maybe
there's my answer. But no, well, Christmas we did the whole thing. We got a honey baked ham, right? And now 2 years ago, Nat cooked turkey and all that stuff. And I made like southern green beans. I made this stuff called Russian salad. We did it all. Then we took it to her parents' house. By the way, they're Buddhist and don't even celebrate Christmas, but that's beside the point. What are you going to do? You know, hell, it's Christmas, you know? And that's the deal. But yeah, she made dressing. I think she got my mom's dressing recipe. But I don't know. It's going to be low key because it's just us, and you don't want to make all that food. And,
no, that's a lot for two people. Yeah, man.
It's a lot for two people. So we're looking at doing a Cornish game hen, which is a little tiny football-sized chicken with some stuffing and, you know, maybe some
chicken,
mac and cheese, something like that. So I'm really looking forward to that and all that. One of these years, I'm going to get back to South Carolina and go feast at my mother's house. So I'm not sure. All right. David Los Bravos Cloninger. Look forward to hearing him on the show. Yeah, Blind Squirrel. He's funny. I mean, we've had him on twice. The first time was really good. It was a season outlook. The second time he talked about that article he read about Mike Grosso, Gamecock basketball history, and he's just got like a really good sense of humor and has been on the beat for a long time. So he's got a lot of stories. AJM2 says Alabama's played in the Rose Bowl. It's in their fight song. That's true.
Well, that harkens back to a different era, though, you know.
Georgia played it. Bama played it. Actually, now, do you count all right, so Auburn went to the BCS National Championship game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was at the Rose Bowl, but it wasn't really the Rose Bowl. So do you count? I don't know if you count that or not.
I don't think you do because they played a game the week prior to that.
Yeah, and they called it the Rose Bowl. Texas has played in it. Oklahoma's played in it for sure. Man, or is Arkansas or LSU maybe been in the Rose Bowl? I don't know. Florida missed their chance at 0-1 when they lost to Tennessee. Then Tennessee lost to LSU, and the SEC got shut out. You know, so Cocky says, so all those teams played in it before the SEC was created. The SEC came along in like the early 50s because it used to all be – everybody used to be in the Southern Conference, man. Yeah. Right? The SoCon. Everybody was in the SoCon. Georgia was in the SoCon, Clemson, Carolina. It was this gigantic conference. And the teams to the east of the Appalachian Mountains went with the ACC and formed the ACC. And then the teams to the west formed the SEC. And then they had Georgia Tech, obviously Georgia. Tulane was in the SEC, a little school up in the hills of Tennessee called Sewanee, the University of the South. They were in the SEC in the 30s or in the 20s or whatever, but they kind of split off. And I'm not maybe – wait a minute. The SEC maybe would have split off earlier than the ACC. I know Carolina was a charter member of the ACC and joined in 1953. So maybe Carolina stayed maybe those teams stayed in the SoCon when the SEC broke off because Sewanee and Tulane were in the SEC and they played in the 30s. So I'm probably mistaken on that date, but that's kind of the story there. VJ says, has there been a USC in modern college football history? Yes, twice actually. Mm-hmm. I think in either 80 or 79, George Rogers and the group went out and lost a close one in LA to the Trojans. And then the first sign of life under Joe Moe, 83, the Trojans came to Carolina and got beat 38-14. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the first time they did 2001. I know it was that year. I know it was 83. But yeah, Carolina beat the crap out of Southern Cal in 83, 38-14. So there has been an SC versus SC. All right, Daddy says Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Tulane have all played in the Rose Bowl, and Duke. Duke used to be a powerhouse. Heck, they're pretty good now, by the way.
Yeah, Did all right this year.
Lady Bree says it's hard to track all the history. At some point, you have to say the modern era and move on. I kind of scope everything out like with Carolina, like the Paul Dietzel era, which started in the 60s, is kind of where and honest to God, that's the first time the University of South Carolina acted like they cared about football, to be honest. Which kind of makes it's probably a reason why you're not that good,
Yeah. Late to the game.
They hired Dietzel. He was head coach at Army. He had been at LSU and won a national championship. It was a big-time hire. He came in, redid some facilities, stuff like that. Before that, it was like your Marvin Basses of the world. And, Rex Enright had a pretty good run and some stuff like that. But I kind of, when let's say modern era, I'll start with Dietzel. Now, the lifetime era for me started in 86, which I have to almost go back to 80 to really get it going, because it doesn't make any sense to start in 86 unless you're just a huge Todd Ellis fan, because that was his first year playing. I was there for all 73 interceptions.
No,
hurt me. So
I wonder he says hurt me so much.
Yeah, I was really happy for Tommy and Todd. Just listening to the callback of that game.
I listened to some of the radio stuff, man. They were having a blast. It must have been. It would have been awesome to be in that box.
They have a difficult job, man.
They do.
Difficult job. So Sean says before George and after George. That's fair. And then there's the SEC era, which started in '92. And a lot of times when I'm writing or talking about something, I'll reference that. And then 2000 started the new era of Carolina football, quite frankly. I mean, this is a program that everybody was happy to get to a bowl most years, right? 110-win season. If you won 6 or 7 and got to a bowl, it was a great year. If you beat Clemson, it was a super year. 2000, things started to change. Carolina, became a SEC program that was capable of winning football games. Sometimes at a high level, but sometimes, just on any given Saturday, Carolina can win. Even the bad teams they've had have pulled off some surprises. So I think that changed the standard. Coach Spurrier obviously changed the standard when he won the division in 2010 and had those big years. But it really started with Lou Holtz and those 2 turnaround seasons, because before that, man, I mean, you had one bowl team that won 6 games in the regular season, finished 7-5 because they won the bowl. I think Brad Scott had one more winning season, 6-5, where they did not go to a bowl. Deuce Staley was on that team, pretty good team. Did not go to a bowl because Brad Scott was not a good coach. And that was it. And the program bottomed out. I mean, I think it was kind of weird because I think everybody expected when Carolina came into the league, they were going to tote a butt whipping. Right. And they didn't. They're competitive, like Arkansas was competitive too. But then you hit a down point, and I think it'll be interesting to see if Missouri and Texas I think Texas A&M's figured out how unforgiving this league is. Right.
Yeah.
It's about to be 8-loss Jimbo.
Yeah. Welcome to the league. 8-loss Jimbo.
8-loss Jimbo.
Oh my God! What are they paying him? $9 million a year.
Yes.
Isn't that what his contract? Golly, think about spending all that money for a 4-8 season. Jeez.
Terrible. Yeah. 4 because they did beat UMass in uninspiring fashion.
Boy, if I heard more about weather impacting a game than I did coming out of damn College Station this weekend. Well, it was raining. It was raining. Yeah, it's okay. 20-3. Yeah,
it just didn't show. I mean, you're just like, it's UMass. It's November. It was also freezing cold. Talking to Keith, because he's in Austin, which is near College Station.
Oh, yeah.
It was freezing cold. A couple of drunk Aggies up there with their shirts off had the section to themselves. They started running around waving towels. That was kind of funny.
Golly. Empty. It was so empty. Oh my goodness.
Travis says, "What's your all-time favorite Carolina football helmet?" Well, because I kind of came of age in the '80s, I'm kind of partial to the garnet with the white circle.
The white circle, yeah.
The one Todd Ellis wore, yeah. And that the Sterling Sharp and those guys. I kind of like the throwbacks they wore this year against SC State from 1968. I'm going to give somebody credit on the message board. I don't remember what poster it was exactly, but they said they should do the Stormtrooper look with those old school helmets. Because speaking of Tommy Suggs, Tommy beat Clemson 3 times. He was 3-0, right, against the Tigers. One of those first wins was 1968. Bust that out.
Yeah. Throw it out there for Tommy. Let's go get one.
Somebody says Blind Squirrel says Jimbo's getting – or no. Somebody says Jimbo's getting paid $1 million a loss.
Pretty close.
$1 million a loss. How do I get that deal? Yeah, if he loses 8, let's see what he makes, 80.
Yeah, if he loses 8, it's over $1 million a loss.
Well, I guess per year. So he makes probably 10 a year. I mean, but if you talk about the legitimate, like his entire contract, the money, it's $10 million a loss. I don't know, man.
You get what you pay for.
I mean, look, there's only a handful of coaches that have won national championships, right? So you get one, you kind of think you're doing well. But I would have maybe looked a little closer at what happened at Florida State with them. I mean, they still recruited in the top 5 and all that. But, I mean, you can ask a lot of folks. He left it in bad shape. Willie Taggart made it worse, and Mike Norvell's had to dig his way out down there.
Yeah,
and that's one of the best brands in the country. You know, that the Knowles, everybody knows the Knowles. Sean said, "Bored, I'd lose for half of that. I'll send my resume to College Station." Yeah, you can pay me half. Me and Phil, we'll be Aggies. Gig 'em.
That's right. Gig 'em. Won't make fun of the midnight yell or anything.
In public.
Well, yeah,
in public. Quantrill says the garnet combo with black helmets is a clean look. They should wear those only at night. Yeah, I don't know, man. It looks like Texas Tech to me, but like I said, I respect everyone's opinion on uniforms, right? Because, man, you'll talk to like 10 different people, and one of them will be like, "Oh, God, love the all black, love the black helmets, love this, that." Everybody's like, "Those are donkey and awful." And some other people are like, "Well, I like the garnet jerseys." Like, no. And I think that's what you get when you have 2 primary colors and you don't really have a traditional look, which is okay. I mean, I think it's fine. I think you can win and not have a traditional look. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think we've gone with a solid color combo all year, have we?
No.
Oh,
no. Arkansas Stormtrooper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Arkansas Stormtrooper. So I would
garnet face mask. That's right, garnet.
Face mask.
Yeah.
I'd throw a little curveball. I'd bust out those helmets again, and excuse me. I'm allergic to excellence. Oh, I knew that was coming. I bust out those helmets again and throw the Stormtrooper look out there for that. So that's good. Helmet and pants should match. Daddy-O, I kind of tend to agree most of the time, but that's okay. Like I said, everybody's got different opinions. It's like the fashionista up in here, but we are out of time. Once again, mega show tomorrow to end the week, because Phil and I have Thanksgiving duty. You heard what this man has to start doing once we get off. He's got a marathon ahead of him. I've got some things to do too, so we're going to take holidays off around here. So gonna end the show this week tomorrow, but we'll have Bradford and Flint on at the same time, plus your interaction, plus Chris Phillips with his high energy segment in the middle of the day, and then we'll bid you adieu for the week. So we'll have predictions and everything. Also, want to remind you about the contest. We've already got some entries in on Twitter. Just tweet what makes you thankful for the show and Sawyer's at big spot. Sean, I can drop an Ohio State Michigan prediction tomorrow. I got to look up and see if Blake Corum's playing.
It all hinges on that.
Yeah, because I talked about that on JC and Morgan yesterday. Is I think that's what it kind of depends on for me. I think Ohio State will win by a couple touchdowns if he does not play. If he does, man, Michigan may cover. Michigan's got a good team. Michigan. So anyway, 8 a.m. to be nice to our guest. Okay, they're our guest. Okay. Anyway, for Phil Mullinax, it's JC Sherman. Have a great Tuesday afternoon. Inside the Gamecocks show signing off. I'll holla at you soon.